So if you guys love neo soul guitar but you don't really know where to start from, this video could be the place to start from. Because today we're gonna learn neo soul guitar in 4 easy steps. Number 1, the chord progression. Number 2, the key to define melodies and embellishments. Number 3 is going to be timing and feel. And number 4, chord substitutions and passing chords in case you want to spice it up while you're playing. Let's get started with the step number 1. So the chord progression is going to be D minor 7, B flat major 7, G minor 7, A minor 7. As simple as that, just 4 chords to get started. When you play this chord progression, you can either pluck the chords all together, maybe with a little bit of percussion, like that. Or you can break them down into arpeggios and play single notes like, or maybe still with percussions with a little bit of groove, really like. And the step number 2 is going to be understanding the key, and the key of this chord progression is D minor. So D minor is the 1 minor, the home of the key really. B flat major is the flat 6, major 7. G minor 7 is the 4th minor, and A minor 7 is the 5 minor. Now that we know that we are in the key of D minor, we should look at a couple of scales that we can use to embellish the chords or to play melodies in between chords. So the first scale I would think of is the D minor pentatonic. So with the root note here, this would be. If you guys know the shapes of the minor pentatonic, this is the shape number 4 with the root on the A string and another root note here, but you can look really at any shape you know of this scale, okay? So it doesn't have to necessarily be this, you can move wherever you like and even play the classic shape number 1 with a root note here, another root note here and another root note here, but really can be any shape of this scale. So the other scale I was referring to is the natural minor scale. So D natural minor, which is made by 7 notes, and starting from D it goes like. If you guys know the shapes, you can continue. Wherever you like really on the fretboard. And now that you know a couple of scales, the natural minor and the minor pentatonic, you can either play phrases, you know, improvising on these scales in between the chords, so like. Or you can play a short pickup melody like, which you then repeat. Slightly different every time. Okay, or you can find a sort of melody that you repeat, a short melody that you repeat in between each chord, okay, like. It could be the same or you could change it every time really. Now another reason why we should know what's the key, D minor in this case, is because in this way we can really understand what chord extensions and embellishments we can play in this chord progression. So if I think about the first chord, D minor 7, I can play lots of embellishments, really doing something very simple like, just a hammer-on pull-off with one of the fingers involved, okay? Or I can add an extra finger, like the pinky for instance, once or twice. Or I can also play another classic hammer-on embellishment on a different D minor position, like this, which is very typical of neo soul, playing the minor 9 position. So like, and then heading to my B flat major 7, why not? Then for the next two chords, you know, G minor 7 and A minor 7, I could play, for instance, a minor 11 position on both, like that, before coming back to my D minor 7, for instance. Or I can play two different extensions, like on the G minor 7, which is the minor 4, I can play the 9th, like, and on the A minor 7, the minor 5, I can play the 11th, like I was doing before. So all together it would be like, guys, the chord diagrams are on screen, but if you would like to follow along with the tab of the examples that I'm playing, remember that you can always find the tabs and music notations for the examples that I play in my videos on my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. If you become a Patreon, you will get extra resources and you will also support this channel to keep these lessons coming. Now the step number 3 is about the timing. So we got 4 chords, we need to decide how long they are. So we could have 2 beats each. Or I could have 1 beat followed by a percussion, so it could go live. Like that, with a rest, you know, in between the chords when I play the percussion. Or I could play 1 full bar per chord. So it's up to you really to figure out what's the best length for the chords, but you should also think about the feel, whether you want to get into a more laid back feel, maybe when you break down the chords into arpeggios, into single notes, like. Very smooth, you know, when you play like that. Now the final step, as I said, is to spice up the chord progression, so we might want to add extra chords. These could be chord substitutions, like for instance, if I've got my D minor, which is a 1 minor, and then my flat 6 major, 4 minor, 5 minor, I can make this 5 minor a dominant 7, maybe an alternate dominant 7 like this, and then go to it to D minor 7. Now if I do this, I could play this chord on its own, like, which is great and it sounds good. Or I can actually play the A minor 7 and then switch to an A7 alternate, like. Like that. Or I could actually have a 2-5 leading back to D minor 7, so I could have E minor 7 flat 5 and then A7 sharp 5, so I could have like, which has very much of a jazzy feel to me. Or as I said, you can add a passing chord, and if you do so, the most common passing chord is the diminished 7th just before the 1 minor. Okay, you should look at it really as an extension of the 5 that we were using, the A7, but I'm not gonna get into this. I talk about this in other videos anyway. If you look at this A7 as an A7 flat 9, effectively the chord that you get taking the A off is a C sharp diminished 7th, and this sounds really cool. So you can play like, Okay, so what I just did was literally taking the diminished 7th chord and moving it 3 steps higher, because as you might know, the diminished 7th passing chords can be moved by 3 half steps and you are basically playing the same chord, just an inversion of itself. And together with this, I was also putting together a few extensions and a simple melody between some of the chords so that you could also, you know, summarize everything we said so far. Right guys, that's all for this quick neo-soul lesson. If you got some value from this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you got any questions, feel free to ask anything you like in the comments below. And if you want to support this channel and get extra rewards like the tabs and the music notation for the examples, think about becoming a patron. You can find the link in the description below to my Patreon page. Thanks for watching guys, the Bearded Guitarist here. Have a great day.